Bring in Umberto Profazio from London. He's an associate fellow at the International Institute for Strategic Studies. He's also a Maghreb analyst for the NATO Defence College Foundation. Umberto, great to have you on the program. When we look at the latest comments that came from Macron, the denying of visas, was this kind of action just kind of the last straw? Because the relations between Algeria and France have been deteriorating over the last few months.
Yeah, I think that it's a result of the changing geopolitics of the Mediterranean Sea. I mean, there are structural factors and the uneasiness in the relation between Paris and Algiers has been ongoing since several years. There has been a recent precedent last year when the Algerian ambassador was recalled after the transmission of a documentary on the Iraq protest movement in Algeria that brought to the end of the Bouteflika regime. What has changed since this last precedent is the fact that the geopolitics of the region has changed, and the normalization agreement between Morocco on one side and Israel on the other are bringing in new paradigms to decipher the political developments and geopolitics on the ground.
So how much of an influence then does France have, not just in Algeria, but in Tunisia and Morocco as well?
Well, considering that they are former colonies, there is still a large influence of Paris in the political developments of this country. And the relations between Algiers on one side and Paris on the other are a mirror of the difficult relations between France and their former colonies. The problem is that right now, Algeria is still in a difficult transition. The end of the Bouteflika regime has brought a new regime in which effectively the role of the military is still predominant, and President Abdelmadjid Tebboune is considered a counterweight to the powerful regime in Algeria. And that is where Macron has insisted in his remark last week, also making an interesting reference to Turkey and to the fact that France's colonial experience in Algeria is seen as different from the Turkish colonial experience during the Ottoman Empire. And this gives the impression that France is probably scared or afraid of the fact that the relations between Algiers on one side and Ankara on the other can get better.
Umberto, how does this all affect the French presidential elections, which take place next year?
This is an interesting point because obviously once the elections are approaching, Macron would like to take a very tough position, especially on these questions, and to not let too much space to the far right movement. But the problem is that in the Mediterranean right now there are increasing frictions between France on one side and Algeria on the other. And this is due to the fact that there are two different blocks, regional blocks, and the normalization agreement between Israel and Morocco has been one of the most visible example of this trend. The problem is that France is also part of this geopolitical competition because of its excellent relations with most of the Gulf countries that are also on the side of the normalization bloc.
Very interesting at times there ahead, especially next year with those elections. Umberto Profazio from London, thank you so much.